Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good people, wherever you are in the world. I am your host for this morning's session, Ryan Carthage. See, we got a few new faces, so welcome. Glad Joyce had another new face, but welcome. Glad you're able to join us this morning. I also got my awesome partner Casey on the line with us this morning.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. Hey, Ryan.
Good morning. And Benny will be hopping in shortly as well. He might be listening on the YouTube stream as he travels to the office. So glad everybody's able to join us this morning. We'll probably have some more folks hop in as we get moving. But let's go ahead and get started. We got quite a bit to look at this morning and review. Some of the setups from yesterday, and we'll look at some pound pairs as well. But as always, turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage. And let's get to it. Please, as always, if you are not asking a question or making a comment, please keep your mic muted, just for courtesy of everybody on the call and everybody that might listen to the recording. All right. Quick disclaimer: trading does have risk. We're not CTAs, commodity trading advisors. So the information that we give is for educational purposes only. We can teach you about the technicals. We can teach you about the fundamentals. We can teach you about everything down to the trades that we like to take. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to press that button to take that trade. So you want to make sure that you always trade responsibly and never risk any money that you cannot afford to lose. All right. So as I said, we're gonna take a look at pound pairs. We'll take a look at some dollar pairs as well, and we'll review setups that Benny talked about last night to see what progress we've made over through the Asian session and through the first part of the London session. And then we'll go from there. So if you guys have any pairs that you want me to take a look at, if I don't get to them in my review, I'll do my best to check them out towards the end. So as I switch over, I'll give you guys a few minutes to drop any pair that you want me to take a look at into the chat, and we'll get rocking. Benny, good morning, brother.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
Doing great.
Awesome. All right. We will start out with I'm going to start at the top of the pound list with Ebony, don't be upset with me. With the pound Aussie.
I'm at peace with it now.
and we'll move from there. All right. So there we go. Drop me one if you guys can see my screen. All right. Cool deal. All right. So this pound Aussie we've been tracking for quite some time, right? We've been watching this move to the downside. Let me get to the daily time frame. Tracking this move to the downside, right? This nice move here, okay? And, right, we got to TP1, right? Daily 38.2 level is our first level that we shoot for, and we achieved it, right? And we achieved it. So now we look for what could be happening next, right? What could happen next? We haven't really gotten, but we don't have any swing lows in here, right? Low point, that's the low there. So we don't have any swing lows. Price has just been pushing. Momentum has been extremely strong to the downside, right? Just took off. So let's go down to the 1 hour time frame to see what we have on the smaller waves, right? So as we've been tracking this move to the downside, these are the AB boundaries that have formed. Daily 38.2 was hit, and in line with the level of daily support, right? And we got a new AB boundary. Okay, so Casey talked about this a couple of days ago, right? Looking for the reversal. Once we get a swing low on the trend line break, right? We got this push up, bounced off the trend line, pushed back to the downside. We got another slight push up last night before that D extension was hit, right? Didn't quite go, had to get that at D extension first. And now we could be preparing for a reversal. Okay, so we saw on the daily, we haven't had much of a pullback in this yet, right? So Benny broke down yesterday the crown reversal pattern, right, and what that looks like, right? If you guys didn't get the chance to join Benny's session last night, I strongly suggest going back and checking it out. He broke down this crown reversal pattern and what it looks like. So we have the potential for, if we get the pullback, right? Right. This move to the downside took out this previous low, right? Took out that previous low. Okay. Push down. So if we get a pullback in this, right, back up to this daily resistance level, right, in line with that left tip, right, we could get that move. Okay. So potential for a pullback here. How deep it goes, we'll see. But we're at a key level of support. Daily 32 level. Remember, everybody, if you're not actively making a comment or asking a question, please keep your mics muted. So if we get this pullback here, right, we could see price come back up, right, retest some of these higher levels, right, because we haven't had a pullback yet in this. Okay. And if that occurs, this would be, right, so that'd be right in line with a 618 retracement, right? If we get this, right, swing low to form 2 days to the right, Thursday, Friday, right, we could be looking at this move to the upside and potentially in line with the 618 retracement at this daily resistance level. So that's something to watch for from a long-term perspective. Okay. So back to the 1 hour time frame. Right, we see we're here. Okay, new AB boundary form. Got the trend line drop there. If you want to take this to the 15-minute for folks who like to trade this on a smaller time frame, right? Just copy this fib here, like so. Link that down to the lower time frame. For our new folks, right? We're using Smart Trader here. Casey just got done, like literally just got done doing a video over in the Facebook group on tips and tricks for Smart Trader. Top 3 tools to use. Phenomenal tutorial. So definitely check that out as you're getting used to using this tool to get some really good tips there. So you guys check that out. If you have any questions about how to use Smart Trader, how to utilize the functionality and those sorts of things. Okay. But so this is that fib on from the 1 hour time frame down to the 15-minute, right? And if we bring our trend lines down, I'm just going to copy these, link that to the lower time frame there, link that to the lower time frame there. Okay. All right. Ebony Smart Trader saves lives. It's a great tool. It's a phenomenal tool. Really helps you to see things in the form that we teach them, right? And as you really get used to things and get used to how things move, it'll help you become more efficient in your markups, right? Support resistant trend lines, and it'll help you identify these AB boundaries, right? So as you're going through the training, new folks, be sure.
Uh-oh.
What happened to Coach?
I thought it was just me. Okay, so y'all can't hear him either.
Yes, ma'am, Miss Pips, we can hear you.
How are you this morning, Shauna?
Man, I'm good. I missed last night's session, but my girls told me it was good, but they couldn't take good notes because Benny was talking too fast.
It got a little hot in the club last night.
So we got a little group chat as me, Michelle, Donette, and myself So I was like, I was too tired. I told them to take notes for me. And I heard my phone buzzing about 9:30. They said we couldn't take good notes because Benny was talking too fast.
Well, good thing it's on replay. You can always go back and watch.
Everybody, I apologize. I lost my audio connection there for a second. Can you guys hear me now?
You back in the game, coach.
Yeah,
Let's
we
go.
can hear you.
All right, perfect. All right, so new folks, as you're going through the training, dig in, do the homework at the end of the sessions, and post your homework in the community so that we can get your feedback. Implementing each step of this process is extremely important, right? The more you implement, the more you see, the better you become, right? It's about progress in this process, right? It's not about perfection. We're never going to be perfect. Nobody will ever be there. But it's about making progress, becoming 1% better every day. Your journey is different than everybody else's. You're at a different stage than the person next to you. But we created this community so that we can all support each other and help each other grow to become that 1% better every day. So post your homework in the community. We'll give you feedback. And then you can bring your questions to these sessions, because if you're new, right, Ms. Joyce, some of the stuff might sound like gibberish, and that's all right. That's all right. You're learning something new verbiage, new terminology, new processes, new thought process. So continue showing up, continue digging in. And as you continue to implement and ask questions, things will start to click. Okay. Things will start to click. So also check out the mindset sessions, because mindset is extremely important. So click on the Mindset Monday tab in the topic section and review the mindset videos all the way back from June. We set a foundation at the beginning of this process that's extremely important, and it'll help you move through the thought process of this trading journey and really in life as well. So check those out also. So that's my training soapbox for the morning. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. But on this pound Aussie pair, right? So this is the 15-minute time frame. We have our trend lines brought down. So, right, we got a low that formed there. Now we'd be looking for a break of the trend line and a potential move to the upside, right? We could also get, right, if we get a rejection off of this, push down to this 118 and 127 zone, and then that continuation to the upside. Okay, so this is a hot setup, right? Price is moving. Price has been moving, right? We got a stochastic here that's in the buy zone on the 1 hour time frame, and on the daily. Bring this in. Reset this real quick. On the daily time frame, right? We're oversold. We're oversold, right? So potential buyers in the market at this level, right? So we're in a proper position. Now we're just looking for when price is ready to go, right? So depending on how you want to look at this, right? You can trade, like I said, on the 15-minute time frame, wait for those confirmations in the trend line break. If we get a push lower on that 15-minute, you'll get you potentially an inner trend line off of this, more sharper, more aggressive trend line like that, right? Push down, then you'll get a break from there. Okay. If you trade the zones like myself and Benny, right? First entry is on the AB boundary formation, right? So my first entry is here. Okay. Second entry would be a limit entry, a buy limit in between that 118, 127. Okay. And we'll allow price to do what it does. Okay. Always calculate your risk to ensure that you are taking the proper lot size. Okay. So for me, I give myself that 100 pip stop. Okay. Now we let the trade do what it does. Let the trade do what it does. 85746. Okay. So that's the setup, right? So now we wait to see what happens, right? Do we get price to move? And Benny posted this one already in the Telegram, right? Do we get price to immediately make that move there? Or do we get that push up, rejection off that trend line? And then that move to the upside. Okay. All right. So on this 1 hour fib, TP levels, TP1 to 38.2, TP2 at the 61.8, TP3 at that A boundary. Okay. That's the move. That's the move. Any questions on this pound Aussie?
So I guess a good entry for if it goes to the downside would be wait until it passes that the B area, or you would take it by the resistance, I guess, break and retest of it.
Say that again, please.
I was asking if the best way to know if to sell it down to the.
If you're looking for selling
The
opportunities,
127.
yeah, I personally I wouldn't sell at this point.
Okay.
We got the daily stochastic that's oversold, right? We're at a key level of support, right?
Yeah.
And a new AB boundary formation. I wouldn't be looking for sales at all in this scenario. I would wait for, if you're looking to buy, I'd wait for, you can either take the entry here, right? Because we have a low price, or right, if you want to be specific about your entries, which is also a great thing to do, right? If this 127 zone is your A1 setup, right? Wait for price to come down here to this level, right? But I wouldn't sell in this case. You want to sell high. You want a high price in order to sell. We're not at a high price right now, right? Price has been pushing down for quite some time. So you want a high price in order to sell. So we're looking for retracements in this back to the upside. Okay, price has been on the move to the downside for quite some time in a really strong fashion, right? We barely got a 38.2 retracement here. This AB boundary, we did get a 50% retracement, right? But that's the deepest retracement that we got through this whole move to the downside. So that tells you that momentum has been extremely strong. And right, you see how sharp this trend line is, right? The trend line tells you the direction and the momentum. Sharp angle on this trend line tells you that the momentum has been extremely strong to the downside, right? So yeah, wouldn't be looking for any sales at this point. We'd be looking for buying opportunities, right? Wait for that swing low to form, trend line break, if you play the confirmations. Okay.
Yep, thank you.
You are welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions on this pound Aussie? Ebony's in this one now. Proper risk. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to the pound CAD. All right, this has been an interesting one. Pop back out to the daily time frame, right? We've looked at this one. We've talked about it, right? We're just moving sideways, right? Monthly high, monthly low, monthly high, monthly low. Now we're right in the middle from a monthly perspective, right in between these daily support and resistance zones. Okay, we'll add this new level here. Oops. We'll add that new level there. Okay, and we'll add, these three levels are pretty close together, so I'm going to take them all in one, right? There's going to be a support level there, like so. Okay, we'll drop these down to the 1 hour time frame as well. We have it. Okay. All right, so, but that's where we are, right? We're just moving sideways, here, right? If we go to the one, little while ago, right, down here on the 24th, right, we played this move to the upside, got through TP2, didn't quite get to TP3, right, rejected off of this daily resistance level. Then it's just been bouncing, just been bouncing back and forth. So we're kind of in the middle right now, right? We're in the middle. We want to see if the pound gains a little bit of strength in this, right? If the pound gains strength and that CAD continues to weaken, right, we can see this move to the upside. However, right, if oil gives a reversal, right, or if we have some positive news on the CAD, we could see this push back down to the downside, right? But right now, if you're not in this on the buy, which I did hold my buy in this scenario, so I'm still in this play, sitting at TP2. If you're not in this to the upside, I would wait for this A boundary to get broken and force to get a new AB boundary to the upside. That's what I'd be waiting for. Because we're just moving sideways right now. So yeah, and right, those smaller waves dig in AB boundary, 50% retracement, right? So you can pick apart these ranges and find them, but you see here, even with this, we're still in between, right? Already got that retracement off of that wave. So now wait to see how price finishes out. If we get a bounce off of that top and push back down, or if price breaks. So you could look at this, right? 50% retracement, we could see this. There we go. One scenario, right? Back to the upside, or we could get a rejection off of that and a push back down to the downside. Okay. So watch the top of this range and see how price responds here. Right. If we get a breakthrough in the retest, we could be moving up to this D extension. Price struggles as it did right here, right? We could get that rejection and move back down. Okay. So that one's in between. Wait and see. Wait and see what happens at that resistance level. Okay. Any questions on the pound CAD? No. All right. Cool deal. Let's move on to pound yen. Right. This has been a fun one. It's been a fun one to play. So let's hop back out to the daily time frame. Right. We've been tracking this one for quite some time. Tracking this daily 30 at 2 level. Right. I haven't quite gotten there yet. Price has been pulling back. This is that up retracement zone. Price is pushing to the downside. This active AB boundary. Right. Sub-fib AB boundary on the daily time frame. Rejection off the trend line. Push down. Couldn't break through this daily level. Right now we're sitting at this daily resistance level, potentially make its way back up to retest this trend line again. Okay, we got our stochastic is in the sell zone, right? So market is overbought, right? We got news coming up tomorrow that could impact this pair, as we've seen in the past, some of these longer impulsive moves to the downside, right? So the news impacts the yen. For that, when we have news on the dollar, it impacts the yen, right? So we have just a little bit of news today. FOMC speakers stepping to the stage. We got some unemployment claims that come through at 8:30, right? That could have a slight impact, but this is the major piece down here, right? Your average hourly earnings, your non-farm payroll, your unemployment rate, your ISM services PMI. Right, these are important numbers, and we think that folks are sitting waiting to see how these play out. Last month, they were a little off from what folks expected. Okay, and they didn't match they weren't even in line with the ADP non-farm payroll numbers, right? So yesterday we had these numbers come out and they were way below projection. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see how these numbers come out, right? Do we meet this 750 projection in the payroll change, or is that number above or below? Okay, last month came in below, which wasn't expected, so it left investors kind of in the middle a little bit. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out and see if it's in line with what came out yesterday or if it's different. But in that, we could see action with the pound yen and other yen pairs and dollar pairs. So sitting at this daily resistance level. We got this long wick here, right? Price couldn't close above that level. So we'll see how price responds today and into tomorrow if we get another push up to reject off that trend line. Okay, so that's the daily perspective. Drop down to the 1. Okay, run our fibs from the top to the bottom. This is our active fib on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, that active fib just off of that just crossed that 50% retracement level. Didn't quite get to the 61.8 just yet. Right, price is still riding this trend line. Right, we never got a true break of that trend line. You guys see that? Price just been riding up. So if we drop our sub fibs on this from the bottom to the top, just to measure these moves, right? We got a 61.8 retracement, so price could be pushing to this 61.8 level. Okay, could be pushing to the 61.8 level, which will be right in line with the 61.8 retracement. Okay, right in line with the 61.8 retracement, which then we could be looking at, right, that potential reversal, depending on how the news plays out. Right.
Hey, Ryan.
Benny, what's happening?
Hey, man. You got a beautiful crown that formed on that. They gave you the low price for the long, right in confluence with
Right
that 61.8, that 61.8 level.
Oh, missed that.
Yeah.
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 I totally missed that. Look at that. Yep. Be like that.
There you go.
Look at that.
Yep.
I totally missed that one. Heck yeah. Right. So additional confluence, right? As this pattern completes, right? As this pattern completes, right? We could then see that reversal back to the downside. So we would have the fib on this 1 second. So let me remove these real quick. So the fib on this would be from the bottom. It'll be like that then, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so we could even see it push a little bit higher, right? Finish out that formation. Like so. Still within that AB boundary, right? Still within that AB boundary. But good call, bro. Okay. So crown formation, right? We'll look for price to push higher. Okay. If you're not in the buy on this, right? Sit and wait for a high price, right? If your bias is overall is short, which mine is, just depending on where that high price comes. Okay. Let's see. 1 hour sub fib. Phil's been here for yeah, the sub fib definitely has been sitting. This move has taken a while to do its thing. Definitely has. Right, but that's what we're looking at here, right? So, and these patterns form, right, in areas of consolidation. We see top to bottom to top to bottom. Now we're making our way back to the top, right? Crown formation there. So that's what we're looking at on the pound yen. So if you're not in the buy on this already, wait for a high price, a new AB boundary to form, right? And then we can look for reversals from there. Okay. Any questions on this pound yen pair? Nope. All right. Cool deal. Let's take a look at the pound dollar. Pound dollar, another one, right? Tracking to this daily 38.2 level off of the shallow retracement and double top, right? Looking for price to come down. Tracking the AB boundaries. It's an active AB boundary here on this daily time frame. Okay. Right now we're sitting at a 50% retracement. Now long wick here. Price is pushing up, getting close to this downtrend line. Okay. That's the active AB boundary there. So again, depending on the dollar news tomorrow, right? This will be heavily impacted by that. Okay. But we're getting close to our sweet spot on the daily, right? If we get another nice push to the upside, get at least that 61.8 level. Okay. We'll come down to the 1. This is that fib from the daily time frame, copied down, right? So I'll do it again. Right. Just trace over this fib here. Like that. Down to the lower time frame. Okay. So that's that daily fib map down to the 1 hour. So we can see that overall move. Okay. And some folks have been playing this move to the upside. So like I said, we're sitting right at this level here, right? Almost to that trend line. We got on the sub fibs, right? We got AB boundary formation here. We got a 50% retracement. Right? And now price is trying to make its way to the upside. Okay. So this is another, if you're not in already, just wait on it. Just wait on it, right? Allow price to do what it's going to do. Let it push up, potentially trend line, maybe a little bit higher to get to that 61.8 retreat extension level, right? And finish out this sub fib. And then we can look for the reversals, right? We do have stochastic overbought right now, but not a time to buy. We're at a high point on this fib, but we're looking for potentially this fib to finish out, or at least push higher and retest this trend line and the 6-minute retracement level at least. Okay. So another wait and see. And a lot of times what you'll see with when you have news coming up is you'll see price start to stall, right? And move sideways and consolidate before that news happens. Okay. You have folks trying to predict the market and get in one way or the other, right? And that just accumulates the orders, and then the market does what it does. Okay. So we'll wait and see what happens.
Hey,
We'll go
Coach,
from there. What's happening, Sean?
you brung that fib down from the daily, correct? To make
Yes,
sure
ma'am.
I'm taking notes. All right.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions? No. All right. Cool deal. Let's pound NZD. Yeah. Come back and take a look at this oil in a second. Pound NZD. Okay. Let me clean this up just a little bit. All right, so from a long-term perspective on this one, excuse the gibberish here. Desi put me hip to a tip that I have to work through to reset my charts so that they'll be a little bit cleaner for you guys. So forgive me on this one. All right, but we're here. All right, so it's just moving sideways, right? Just moving sideways. We got this nice push to the downside here, right? Broke out of this weekly, which was support level, right? And now it's been pushing really, really strong to the downside, okay? Really strong to the downside. But overall, it's just been in this range, okay? So we'll come down to the 1 hour time frame to pick through all of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from the high on this, right? Start from the high of the range and work our way to the downside, right? If we draw our fibs on these, you'll see fibs get taken out back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it gets messy. So we'll start at the top of this range here, right? Because it's just been a range play from top to bottom, from bottom to top. And now we played it to the bottom. We broke out of this zone. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes from that. So we got this new AB boundary that formed here, right? And we know that the New Zealand dollar has been gaining its strength, right? Some pound weakness last week. So Price just been pushing to the downside, really, really strong. So we got a new AB boundary that formed here, very little retracement, okay? And then price is pushing down. So we're at a 118, 127 level right now, right? With very little retracement. So one that we could look at potentially and play with caution, but we can take a look, right? Drop that inner trend line like so. Okay. 80-20 play. All right. Wait for, if we drop down to the 15 on this, I'm going to copy this. Like that. Take that lower, delete those.
Hey, coach, why'd you say play with caution?
Just because the New Zealand dollar has been strong.
All right.
Yeah, just because that New Zealand dollar has been strong. So on this one, I personally would wait for my confirmation to be met on this one, right? But we're right in this 118, 127 zone. Price been pushing down strong. Okay. Wait for your swing low and trend line break, right?
Okay.
The trade your rules.
An acceptable answer. I'll take that.
Maybe this time. Right? But we're right there, right? Right in the middle is 118 to 127 zone. Okay. See that? So if you get that swing low and that trend line break, okay, that'll be your aggressive inner trend line, right? This could be a good setup to the upside. Wait for the trend line break and the pullback. You might have it right there. Okay. So that's one to watch. That's one to watch, right? If you get your confirmations, make that move and let it go. Make the move and let it go. Okay. Looking at to TP1 from where price currently is, looking at 167 pips. TP2, 233. Okay. And we broke this level of support as well. This is a really, really strong level. So yeah, could be interesting to see if price just pushes back above that level and continues up, or if it pushes down. Now, if we move back into a risk off environment, right? We could see this shift, right? That New Zealand will, being a commodity currency, will potentially show some weakness in that risk off environment, right? So we could see that move there if that occurs. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. But that's the setup. That's the setup. You're already at that 118, 127 zone. I'm going to pull the trigger on that one. Okay, wait for your confirmations, trade your rules. All right. Any questions? Any questions?
Nope, I'm waiting on that one for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Just want to measure something real quick. Price currently is. I'm going to note this one. I'm going to be watching this one closely. This is right on. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. And let's go back to the one. Right, so your TP1 here. TP2 there. TP3 there. Okay. All right, cool deal. Now let's bounce back and take a look at oil really quickly, and then we'll take a look at these at the dollar pairs. All right, so this oil play. Excuse me. So don't have it for some reason. My setup hasn't saved my support and resistance zones. I don't know what I did to it, but just for the sake of time, right? Tracking this oil play, right? Just from a Fibonacci perspective, right? This is the active fib on the 1 hour time frame. Got a really, really deep retracement on this. Some folks made a lot of money off this move to the upside, right? It was a beautiful move, right? Straight V, push to the top, right? Off a shallow retracement. So now we're sitting at this high point. If you map the sub fibs to the top, this is your sub fib active AB boundary. And now we're just kind of consolidating, right? Just kind of consolidating in the zone. So we want to see, right? Does price push out of this and up to the upside, right? And take this A out? Or do we get a reversal in the zone, right? On the 1 hour, we got stochastic in the sell zone. Okay. If we pop out to the daily on this, right? We're still tracking this one as well to this daily 38.2 level, right? Stochastic is in the sell zone here also. So we could be looking for a potential reversal off of this, right? So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, right? It's a nice bullish candle there, but if it's going to break to the top, we want to see a break out of that and a push higher. Okay. We're sitting right at that B boundary level. Did get that B boundary formed there, right? So no pullback from a daily perspective just yet. Okay. So you want to watch this one closely. I know Desi is, I believe Ebony still is as well, right? So now it's just watching to see what happens in this zone. Do we get to the top and then get this push back to the bottom, right? And as we know, oil drives a lot of the Canadian dollar pairs, right? So do we see that, or do we see a break to the top, take out that previous A, and then continue up? Okay. On the sub fib, we did get an 8.6 retracement, right? So it could come to this level here, right? And then potentially give us a reversal. See if I can click on that. There we go. All right, push to the upside, 118 to 127 zone, create a new AB boundary. This could also be a scenario. Okay, we know, right, after these A boundaries get taken out, generally that retracement is a nice one, right? Is a nice, decent move in the opposite direction. So this will be, if you're watching Canadian dollar pairs, right, pay attention to oil and see how this plays out, right? See how this moves. Okay. Any questions on this one? Desi, Evan,
Yes.
you guys seeing the same thing on this one?
Yes, sir.
I'm exhausted. I'm done.
I'm not.
I've moved
I'm
on.
not.
I've moved on with my life.
Gotcha. All right.
You got it, Desi. You can have that, girl. You can have that.
I'll handle it for you.
Yeah, take care of it, okay?
All right. So dollar Swissy, right? Again, I apologize for the gibberish that's happening in here. But we've been watching this one back and forth. It's just been consolidating, right? As prices just move back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Clean this up so we can see what's actually happening. All right, so this is the active AB boundary, or the capital AB boundary here on the daily time frame, right? Shallow retracement, 118 level, price pushed down, 8.6 retracement, and now it's just moving sideways, right? So this is a sub fib to the upside, just to track to see how things are going. We did get a 6.18 retracement here, right? And price pushed out, but it rejected off that trend line, right? So now we're just slowly trickling to the side, right? And this one will also be impacted by that dollar news, okay? Impacted by that dollar news, with Swissy being a safe haven currency, right? But also the dollar being a safe haven currency as well. So, but if that dollar gains strength, that DXY gives that push up, right? We can see this break out of this consolidation to the upside, okay? Back to the upside. So this will be one to watch. We just slide into the downside, right, with that trend line. So if we take this down to the 1 you'll see, right? It's just been kind of messy. Clean that up a little bit. So if we, right, just so we can see this, right? We did this the other day, but if we track the fibs to the upside, we'll see we got some taken out on in both directions, right? Those got taken out to the top. So then we track them to the bottom. And then most recently, this one got taken out on the top side. Okay. So come back to the bottom. And then that got taken out as well. So top to bottom here, like so. All right. Shallow retracement. We got a TP2 that was hit there. And then we're just moving sideways. Okay. So sitting and waiting, right? How does price move out of this zone? How does it move out of the zone? If you wanted to play some of the sub fibs on this, which Ken gave a markup, which was a nice markup, by the way, right? Off a sub fib like that, right? We got a, looks like came just shy of that 786 retracement, right? Almost pushed back up to hit that D extension level, right? So that was a great markup, Ken. Right? Got a nice push off of that. So that's a sub fib on that, a type 2 setup, right? And now we're again just moving sideways, right? Just moving sideways. So we'll wait and see on that one. Wait and see how the news impacts it. And a lot of times with the news, we get new AB boundary formations, and those give us nice fresh setups. So that's the dollar Swiss. Any questions on that one? No. All right. Dollar yen, another one that's been back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, right? So in tracking this one, right, this is the active AB boundary on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, similar to that dollar Swiss, just been kind of floating. Okay, so these sub fibs got taken out back and forth, right, in that consolidation, and now we're looking at this. Right, and this sub fib also got taken out. AB boundary formed, right? We didn't get that shallow retracement push up. We just got a straight push to the downside. Took out the A. Now we're to the downside, right? If I can click on this, clean that up. We'll drop the fibs from the top to the bottom, like that. So that's the new active AB boundary. Got a 38 to retracement, but just sideways movement. Okay, so we'll watch the sideways movement, see how the news responds. We'll see how the market responds to the news tomorrow. And we'll play it from there. But this is another wait and see, just been real choppy. But if the dollar gains strength, we could see this push to the upside. Okay. Questions on the dollar yen?
Hey, Ryan, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's happening, Ken?
Yeah, hey, nothing much. I had a question. That capital fib, the A and B one, was that an 80-20 play?
Yeah, right. So you see here, right? You got this shallow retracement right here. Right,
Yeah.
Price didn't get back to that 38.2 level, and then it came right down to this 118 and 127 zone. Right, pushed a little lower, but you then got that reversal to the upside. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was my question. It did go a little lower, so you would put your stop loss like pretty far back.
Yeah,
Below that.
you can play it a couple ways, right? So let me clean this up. Depending on what your rules state and how you play it, right? If you play the confirmations, right, with the trend line break, swing low, what you do is you drop this trend line. All right, it'd be the outer. That'd be your inner trend line there, right? So what you do is you wait for that swing low to form, right, which it formed right here, and then you wait for a trend line break, right? And in this case, right, kind of lingered sideways a little bit. So you could have left it there and played the break there, or if you wanted to shift it out to get a little more confirmation, nice bullish move, you could have shifted out to the outside of that consolidation, and that's your bullish move there. So off that close, then you could have entered that trade to the upside there and wrote it to TP2. And then what you do is you set your stop below the low, right? Playing those confirmations. So that's one way you can do it. Okay, so if your entry was off the close of this bullish candle there, okay, and your stop loss would have been 40 pips, right? And then, right, a little less than 2 to 1, right, on the risk to reward. So that's one way to play it. The other way, yes, is to have the wider stop. So you could have entered at the B boundary, gave yourself that 100 pip stop as I do, right? And then allowed the trade to do what it does, right? And then if you want to take just the 127 move off of it, right? I have the 2, but if you want to take just the 127 and play it there, if this is where you saw it, right? You can place your stop. You can either give yourself the wider stop, 100 pip stop, or you can place that stop just outside that D extension. Okay, so it's a little less than 100 pips, but still gives the trade room to breathe. Okay, so you got a couple ways that you can play that.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. No problem. Great question. Any other questions? All right.
Nope, I don't see any.
Cool deal. Cool deal. I will leave this here. Let's take a look at this dollar CAD. All right. So this is one we've been tracking as well, right? This was let's go back. It's gonna look a little messy again, guys, so bear with me, right? This has been that move to the downside, right? Just lingering, 80-20 play. Then we've been tracking it back to the upside, working to get to this daily 38.2 level, okay? So we track the smaller fibs on this one, right? And they've been playing out. They've been playing out. So this was the sub fib active AB boundary here, right? And I copied this fib down to the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so I'll show you guys that in a second, but that's the active AB boundary there, right? And we're sitting at a 786 retracement right now. Okay, from a longer term perspective, sitting at a 786 retracement, just moving sideways. We got a nice bullish move here to attempt to break out of that, which on the lower time frames we did play. But now price is just lingering, right? So if we go back down to the 1, right, zoom back out. This is that daily fib here. Well, this is the last one. Okay, the most recent one. Let me go back. Thought I copied it, but I didn't. There we go. So this is the most recent active fib here. AB. There we go. All right. So that's the fib there. Go back to the 1. That's that move. Okay, that's that AB boundary. Okay. Then these are those smaller waves within it to the downside, right? Some folks played this move back to the downside, right? We were able to catch this move off the trend line break, 80-20 play off the sub fibs right here. You guys see that, right? Won't let me highlight it, but that's okay. Right, so this AB boundary, shallow retracement, price push down, right? We're able to play this move back to the upside, TP2. Then price came back down, right? Came back down, and then it's just been moving sideways, okay? Oil had a retracement, right? The dollar retraced, so it was all in line, so moving sideways. This is just a sub fib AB boundary from the top of this move, right? We did get a 50% retracement, but we're just lingering, just moving sideways, okay? So, whoops. What happened on that? Down. So this is the active AB boundary here. I missed this, right? So we got a 786 retracement off of this, and price pushed back down to that 127 level here. I missed that. My apologies. Right? So off of that move there, that created this new active AB boundary. Okay. So then we're just sideways, right? So I can box this consolidation out here, right? And we'll see what price wants to do. Okay. We'll see what price wants to do, right? Tomorrow will help us decide. Tomorrow will help us decide. All right. Any questions on this dollar CAD? So we're just sitting and waiting, right in that B boundary zone. Okay.
It is slightly the opposite of oil.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right here, we can overlay that, and you can take a look at it. All right. Right. So this black line is oil. This is just an overlay, right? And you see, right, kind of moves the opposite, right? Push down, push up, right? And they crossed. So now it's just been the sideways move. It's been the sideways move. Okay. But similar look, just the inverse. So if oil gives us that push down, we could see this one push to the upside, and that could go hand in hand with however that dollar news plays out as well. Okay, good call, Desi. All right.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, cool deal. So that's the dollar CAD. So let's take a look. Any questions on this one? No. Cool deal. So let's take a look at some of the pairs that Benny broke down yesterday. Some of the setups that were there. All right. So on this Aussie CAD, right, we're looking at from a long-term perspective, right? Benny broke down this crown pattern. Okay, from a long-term perspective, right? Took out the low, right? Now we could be foreseeing that right tip, right? And then move to the downside. So price has been moving back up, right? Moving back up off that low. So, right, if we zoom in on this, this is the active AB boundary here, right? And we drew some sub fibs, right? Tracking the smaller waves on this, right? And you see those smaller waves got taken out to the upside there. Okay. So where we are, right? From a larger perspective, this is that active AB boundary, running the fibs from the top to the bottom, right? 80-20 scenario. Price didn't get down to that D extension. We got that reversal. Now price is trying to make its way back up to the top, almost to this B boundary now. Okay. Not sure if anybody took this and stayed in this move, but it's been a nice one to the upside, right? So, and off the smaller wave here, right off of this impulsive move to the downside, we're sitting almost at a 50% retracement level still, right? 80-20 move, got a retracement. Now we're getting a deeper push. Okay. But we broke this trend line. That's one of the key things in this, right? Trend line from the top, we got a break. Okay, got a nice bullish break here. Price is still pushing to the upside. So we could be due for a pullback and then potentially continuation if this crown pattern is going to play out to the upside. All right. So if we drop down to the 1 hour time frame, we'll see. Use my gibberish here. I have two ideas playing out, but move that. So this is that AB boundary here. Oops. Let's take those out. All right. This is that daily AB boundary, right? And that 127, 118, 127 play. Okay. This was that reversal that we talked about way back when. We got that trend line break and price has been riding to the upside. Okay. So now we've been tracking the fibs to the upside on this. Okay. Take this up. Right. So now we're in this active AB boundary here. Okay. Now, Benny talked about last night, we had that B boundary formation, right? We could get that push to the downside, or we could get, right, push up to this 127 level then a move to the downside, right? We see that B boundary is broken and price is trying to make its way up to this zone. Okay, so this would be one to watch, right? Hasn't made its move just yet. So if you want to get into it, right, play your rules on it. If you trade the zones, trade the zones. If you wait for the confirmations, sit and wait on your confirmations, right? You'll see with these trend lines, you didn't get a trend line break, right? And price just pushed. Price just pushed, okay? Submit here. Okay. Just riding the trend line, right? Just riding the trend line. So allow price to get up here, do its thing, give you that swing high. Allow it to come up, right? Give you a swing high, give you a trend line break. You can be in the move, okay? Be in the move. So
Hey,
this is
Ryan.
the Aussie CAD. What's happening?
Hey, I just have a question on this pair on the daily. When you draw the sub fib down and it's retracing at like the one at the 78 of the main fib.
Yep, this one here. Move this.
No,
This one
like no, like zoom out.
Oh, here.
Yeah, like
The
of
capital
the
fib
yeah,
here?
of the
Yep.
capital fib. So that's the stronger move. So it would like our bias would be to the upside because we've retraced so deeply, or no, because it hasn't reached the extension.
Yeah, no, it definitely could, right? There's definitely some confluence there, right? So you got that 786 retracement, okay? Then, right, if this crown pattern plays out, right, you could potentially see maybe price pushes a little bit higher, maybe get a wick up here at this level, right?
Mhm.
So that's definitely something to watch, something to note for sure, right? So if that crown pattern plays out, maybe you get a wick that's a little bit higher, and then, right, close below that weekly, if that plays out, if the crown pattern plays out. But yeah, no, that's definitely something to note as a potential destination to the upside for sure.
Okay, and then on the 1 hour to keep in mind that if I'm selling, right, ultimately those fibs could be taken out because now we're like buying. I mean, we're going up, right?
Yep. Keep in
Okay.
mind where you are from a larger perspective. Absolutely. Right.
All right, yeah,
So
that's where I just want to make sure I don't get confused when I'm like selling it. I want to make sure that I'm keeping in mind that overall it retraced at a deep level on the capital fib. So we're looking to go up eventually, right? Okay.
yep, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Overall, your bias is long, right? So how you could play this, right? How you could play this is this, right? So say you play this counter trend move, right? Play this counter trend move to the downside. Okay. And you get a deep retracement on this. Say we get TP2 618, right? Or even if we get a TP3, right? And it comes down to this A boundary. Okay. I'm gonna take these trend lines out for a second. So if you aren't in this move to the upside already, right? But your bias is long and you're just waiting for a low price at that point, right? So allow this move to do its thing, right? You can play this to the downside and then can drop your trend lines, same thing, right? Trend line, bang. So now once you get your low price, wherever that is, 618, 786, 86, right? Once you get your low price, your swing low to form in your trend line break, right? Now this is your low price to enter on that buy to the upside.
Yes.
Right? And if you are like, for me, right, I'm in this move to the upside already. So this would be one of those scenarios where I add to that trade.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See how it comes
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
right? As long as price gets down into my sweet spot, right? 618, 786, 86, right? I'm looking for that low price. So now I can add to my trade because this was my original entry here.
Yeah, because
Right.
that bullish break on the daily, I was like, okay, nah. Like
Yeah.
it broke is strong. Like we could see potential to go up, but I'm like, all right, so it's gonna retrace. So then on the smaller time frame, this is the move right here to come down a little bit. And then I could
Bingo.
get in for a good price to buy it up if it's gonna just start going up now for the next Okay, awesome. Thank
Bingo.
you.
Perfect. You're right on time.
Thank you.
You're right on time. Absolutely. Right. So that's the beauty of the methodology and how we teach it. You can play it both ways, right? You can play the buys, you can play the shorts, and you can do it on any time frame, right? You can do it on any time frame. So folks that like Michelle likes to play the lower time frames, right? So you can take this down to the 15-minute time frame.
Yeah, 15 minutes. That's where it's at.
Right? You can take it down to the 15-minute time frame, right? And now you can play these smaller waves, right? So now you see it at a smaller level, right? Now you might be able to be a little bit more aggressive, right? Get in a little bit sooner. Okay. Right. Now, as that move gets up here, now you might have an earlier entry, right, with a tighter stop, if that's how you play it, to then play it back to the downside, right? Any time frame is there. Any time frame is there. Pips in my pockets. Absolutely, Ebony, right? One trade at a time, right? So it's there. It's there, right? Key reversal points. That's what this allows you to identify. Key reversal points in the market, right? On every single time frame. So that's how you can play it both ways. Play the short to the low price, then you can play, right, the long back to the top. If you don't want to play that counter trend move, if you just want to wait for that low price, that discount, to play that back to the upside, just wait for price to come down, right? Sit on your hands, be patient, right? Allow for price to do its thing, let it get to a low point, let it create that swing low, break that trend line, then you got to play to the upside. Okay.
That's the whole trade. Ryan, you literally are telling us the trade. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
You see the setup, but it's taking so long to play out. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it does. It does. And that's okay, right? Because as you guys see, right, Benny went through at least 20 pairs last night, right? Maybe 15, 20, somewhere in there. And so many setups, right? So if one isn't there yet, another one may be. But you also got to keep in mind, right? Before major news events, you'll start to get the market to slow down and you get some consolidation, right? And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing price just trying to take its time, right? But it was opportunity to make move, to catch some pips this week already, right? This move to the upside, the pound Aussie to the downside, right? So some money was in the market, right? Now some of these major moves that are setting up for potential longer term trends, right? We're waiting on the news to happen to see how it impacts. Okay. But it's all there. It is all there. Okay. But that's the move. That's the move. Any questions on this Aussie cat? Nope. All right. Aussie Swiss. Right. Aussie Swiss. Benny talked about this one, right? We're a little shy of that D extension level, but price hit that D, right? And this is the larger fib on this move, right? Just running them from the high point, right? From this high to the downside. It's an active fib on that 1 hour time frame, right? So this D extension, this fib finished out. Okay. Now, once this hour closes, right, you get a new AB boundary potentially if price doesn't push higher, right? Now we could be preparing for a move to the downside. We'll see, right? Deep retracement off of that move. So if we bounce back out to a higher time frame, we'll see. This is what we're looking at, right? So we got down to a 786 retracement, didn't quite get to the 86 level off of this capital fib, right? And price is trying to make its way back to the upside, okay? So we'll see how it goes, right? The Swiss franc is a safe haven currency, right? So if we move back into that risk off environment, right, we could see potential that Swiss franc gain some strength, potentially, right? And the Aussie would have to lose some strength, lose some steam, which it's been on a roll as of late. It's been on a roll as of late. But this is that daily active AB boundary on the daily time frame. We're sitting at a 786 retracement. Okay. If you play this move back to the upside, you got TP2 out of it. Okay. So now we want to see if we get a reversal or not. So back to this 1 hour time frame. That's where we sit. That's where we sit, right? So we'll see. Once that new AB boundary forms, right? You'll have an opportunity at least potentially, right, to play the smaller moves off of it. Okay. You could get a shallow retracement, push up to the 118 and 127 level, right? Or you could get the move down to your TP levels, right? Play those smaller waves. If your bias is short on this, right, you're in your sweet spot. Okay. You're in your sweet spot. Now play your confirmations. Play your confirmations. Okay. Same thing over and over and over and over again. That's the beauty of it. All right. You don't have to worry about the strategy or the methodology changing as the season changes, right? You can get your reps in and allow price to do what it does, right? So if your bias is short, right, there you go. There's your trend lines. Wait for your new AB boundary to form. Okay. Swing high, trend line break. Got a potential move to the downside. Stochastic in the sell zone, right? Daily time frame, stochastic in the sell zone. Could be lining up. Could be lining up. Wait for the new AB boundary to form. Okay. But Benny said that the extension get hit, and then we'll see from there. Okay. That could potentially be a nice setup, at least for a short-term move to the downside, right? If price pushes down and continues down, right, that would be the destination if that's the move that it takes off of this 8-6 retracement. Okay. So we'll wait on this candle to close, end of the hour, right? And then you have that fresh AB boundary, and you can make your play from there. All right, TP1, TP2. If you want to wait for that 127, if it occurs, you can wait on that too. All right. Any questions on this Aussie Swiss? No?
Nope, I think we're good.
All right. All right. We'll keep pushing through. Take a look at a few more before we call it a wrap. So Aussie Yen, right? This one we've been tracking to this, we got to the daily 38.2 level, broke the 50% level, right? 618 level is the next level if price will continue to the downside, right? The yen also being that safe haven currency, right? The Aussie has been strong. So these are the active fibs to the downside, right? We got a 38.2 retracement off of this double top here. Price pushed down and then gave us this move back to the upside. So now we're looking to see, right, how price responds. Coming back to this level of resistance, right, that price broke out of, right, back into this consolidation zone. So we want to see, we got stochastic in the sell zone here, right? Price has been pushing up. So if we go down to the 1 hour time frame, let's see where we are, right? If you map the fibs from the top to the bottom, right, this is your active fib on the 1 hour time frame. Okay. You could also copy, right, this daily fib if you wanted to track that full move, right, from a daily perspective. But I just ran them from the top to the bottom on this. This is that AB boundary. Price is up into your 7-8 or your 8-6 retracement zone. Okay. And if you look at your sub fibs on this, right, sub fibs from the bottom to the top, B boundary formed, price pushed higher. We'll adjust this trend line out like that. Okay. This is the setup, right? AB boundary, price broke that B, trying to make its way up to this 118, 127 zone. Another 80-20 play. All right, Benny talked about it last night. All right. So we're waiting on it. We're waiting on it to fully set up. We'll see how she plays. Okay. It's the Aussie Yen. Aussie Yen. Slowly tracking this trend line up to the upside. Right. We'll see if it breaks this A boundary. Right. See if it pushes past this 118, 127 zone. Okay. Any questions on this one? Oh, okay. We will keep rocking. Keep rocking. All right. Aussie NZD. Right, just to move on the daily time frame, right? Tons of ranging on this pair, right? Two commodity currencies, price push down, hit this D extension, right? Hit this D extension, right? Once this candle closes today, if it closes bullish, right, we'll get a new AB boundary to form, okay? So that'll be a fresh AB boundary on the daily time frame with fresh levels to the upside, okay? Potentially moving back up some of those higher levels. So we go down to the 1 hour and we track this. Okay. This is the active fib here, AB boundary form. Look at that. All right. Got a nice push to the downside. Now price is trying to make its way back up. Okay. 80-20 play, shallow retracement, push down. This was some fundamental news on the New Zealand, right? And now it's making its way to the upside. Okay, so if you get a nice pullback off of this, you got a little bit, but if you get a deeper pullback off of this, could be opportunity to enter this trade if you're not already in it to the upside, right? TP1 there, TP2 there, TP3 there. Okay, so if we track the sub fibs on this one, let's see. AB boundary, right? We got a 38.2, gave a double top. So you could potentially get a push deeper, right? But if price pushes down to your sweet spot, right? Could be that opportunity. Play it back to the upside. Okay. Aussie, New Zealand. Price is in the pushing down to the sell zone there on the 1 hour time frame. Okay. So we could be looking at a move to the upside. So from where price is currently, looking at 70 pips, 120 pips to TP2. Okay. If we get that deep retracement, TP1 is 90, 140. All right. Aussie, New Zealand. All right. Wait for a push lower, right, for that entry, and then we can play it back to the upside. Cool. Aussie dollar. Again, right? Same thing, right? It's in the same thing, right? The baskets generally tend to look somewhat similar, right? We got a 618 retracement off of this capital fib, price pushed down, right? Gave a nice, beautiful reversal back to the upside, right? Now we're sitting at this previous consolidation zone in line with a daily resistance level, right? We did break this in a trend line, okay? The price is pushing up, right? Another dollar pair. So we'll see what the news has in store tomorrow, see how it impacts this pair. But from a daily perspective, we're pushing back up into the zone, right? 618 retracement level is at the top of this daily resistance zone. Okay. So price could push a little bit higher into that. So let's go down to the 1 hour time frame and see what it looks like. Okay, we copied that last fib, right? This larger fib. Whoops. This larger fib is the daily fib, copied down to the 1 hour time frame. Okay. Just to give that representation, see where that 618 level is, right at the top of that zone. Okay. So if we remove this, right, this is the active fib on the 1 hour time frame, smaller waves. Okay. So The sub fibs to the upside right here, right, put us right in line, right? This is the extension level. We got a shallow retracement here. Price pushed through this 118, 127 zone. Didn't really give us much, and it's still trying to make its way to the upside. So look, this D extension level is right in line with the 618 retracement level off of that daily fib at the top of this daily resistance zone, right? Which is also right at the A boundary, right? Strong level of resistance right here, okay? So we'll see how the news plays out, but we could potentially see a push up to the higher portion of the zone before we get a reversal, okay? We could see that, right? Now, if the news goes in the opposite direction, right, then we could see price break through that and ride to the upside. But strong zone, lots of confluence at the top of this zone, right? So we'll watch it. We'll watch it and see how it responds, okay? Any questions on this one? No? Perfect. All right, CAD Swiss franc, another one we've been watching. All right, so from 1 hour perspective, if we zoom out, right, it's been kind of all over the place, right? But zoom in here a little bit, see what we got, right? So sub fibs, the fibs from the downside to the top, right? We're right in a weekly resistance zone, okay? This is the AB boundary. Let's take this off. Maybe. Let's try this. There we go. All right. So AB boundary, we got a 618 retracement off of that. So that would have been a TP2 off of that move from the top. Now price is just kind of lingering up here in this weekly resistance area, right? The sideways movement here. So what we want to see is, right, will the Canadian dollar gain strength and this push higher, right, to achieve this D extension? Or, right, do we move back into that risk off scenario and that Swiss franc pick that momentum back up and push this back to the downside, right? So that's from a short-term perspective. The daily, long-term perspective, right, tracking the lower levels, we did hit that daily 38.2, and that's where we got this bounce to the upside, right? But on this sub fib, right, AB boundary, we got a 50% retracement just shy of the 61.8. So there is still potential, right, if we go back into this risk off environment, that price pushes down to achieve the 618 retracement, which would be in line with that 1618 extension level. Okay, so that'd be the Canadian dollar getting weak, right? Oil falling, risk off environment, right? From a fundamental perspective, those things would have to align in order for this to occur. Okay, so we'll see how it plays out. All right. 1 hour time frame, that's where we are. Okay. Any questions?
No, sir.
All right. So the CAD Yen. Same thing, right? Tracking this daily 38.2 level. Now price is up against this trend line, right? That downtrend line there, right? From sub fib perspective, AB boundary, we're at a 61.8 retracement level. Price is moving sideways up against the trend line, right? Stochastic is in the sell zone. Okay. What we got? So map the fibs from the top to the bottom on it. AB boundary, price pushed up, right? 618 retracement on this 1 hour fib. Been moving sideways. We did get a push down, right? 618 retracement came up, couldn't really break through that B boundary. Okay. Michelle caught this move off of this push up, right, to the downside. And Benny said we wanted to watch to see if we get a break of the trend line. Okay.
I'm still waiting patiently.
Then wait, hey, you're in profit. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful, right?
I'm like, let's go. What are you waiting for?
Right. Similar thing as the last one, right? So Canadian dollar, right? Oil, Canadian financial fundamentals, and then the yen, right? So tightly tied to the dollar. Tightly tied to the dollar. So if the news tomorrow is what it is and pushes the dollar up, right? You can see this yen gain some steam, right? Move into that risk off environment potentially, right? So
Ryan,
it's a slow mover.
side note, today and yesterday, you guys have been saying a lot like Friday, like tomorrow. I'm like, yo, tomorrow people must be waiting to like, you know, when you're like waiting to make bank, it's like, yo, what's gonna happen? I'm so excited for tomorrow, and I'm not even like, I'm like, I can't wait. Like, how is my month gonna look?
Yeah. So you think about it, right? So you have with these fundamental announcements, and especially these non-farm payroll numbers, right? Remembering how last month played out, where so generally how this looks is your ADP non-farm employment change is an indicator of how these non-farm employment change numbers will be. Last month, they were completely off, right? You had these ADP numbers that were high, and the non-farm payroll numbers came in low, right? So they're completely off. So now, investors were kind of in between, like, well, what do we want to do? So now, right, we're looking to see, right, will it be a similar scenario where these non-farm, the ADP numbers were low, way below expectation, right? Almost half. Okay, will this play out similarly to last month where those were low? So will these be high? Will these come in line with the anticipation, right? Or will they be higher, right? And if that happens, potential positive for the dollar, right?
Yes.
So, you know, it waiting to see how it plays out. And these numbers, really, really impactful when it comes to, you know, how money moves, right? Is the economy moving? And then, right, that also slowly trickle into, you know, some of the Fed's conversation about interest rates and those sorts of things, right? All pieces to that puzzle that they look at to determine how, when, how soon, right? And that's what investors are trying to figure out, trying to watch, right? But a lot of things start to align, right? And as you see with these setups, right, a lot of setups are starting to move into place. So now you'll be able to see, hey, will these AB boundaries play out, or will momentum gather and push to the D extension? And what you'll get a lot of times is you'll get novice traders that are trying to, in these consolidation zones where it's just sideways movement, right? You got buyers and sellers coming into this thing, right? And you got orders just accumulating on both sides, right? So then once the news drops, right, the market gets pushed in the direction that it's supposed to go. And on one side of that, right, if you're one of those folks that really try to play the news, right, and you're on the wrong side of that, you could be really on the wrong side of that, right? If you're really looking at just trying to play the news. But with us, right, we're playing boundaries, we manage our risk, right? And we're sheerly playing what we see from a market perspective. So most times we get put in a decent situation where the market moves within those AB boundaries, within those support and resistance zones. Those trend lines get broken and new AB boundaries form, right? So it's always interesting to see. And a lot of times you'll see a lot of times, Benny and I talk about this a lot, where these levels, right? These fib levels, 618 level, 786 level, AB boundaries, right? At key resistance zones or key support zones. A lot of times they end up aligning with news announcements. And then those news announcements happen and those levels will tend to hold. It's really fascinating to watch, right? That's what Benny says, right? Put your baskets together, right? And just watch the news. Don't trade it, but just watch it and see how that basket moves with that news announcement, right? Those AB boundaries, those strong levels, those weekly, daily levels of support and resistance in confluence with news announcements. How do they hold up? It's fascinating to watch. It's fascinating to watch.
Thank you, Ryan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's the CAD yen. All right, right at 8:30. Do we have any questions about anything that we have covered today? Yeah, no, that's slow as molasses sometimes, for sure. Slow as molasses. No questions. Vinny, Casey, you guys got anything before we close out?
Nope. Just just watch, like Ryan just said, just watch how it all plays out tomorrow. Whether it comes in right at expectations, or if it beats expectations, or if it comes in below forecast. Because like Ryan said, the investors we're just trying to figure out, hey, medium, in the long term, they're thinking that he's still talking super dovish on the interest rates, on the hikes, and sticking to that 2023. But now it's just a matter of, right, how fast do they want to taper, right? Because that's the first move, right? Is the taper. So is that going to start to happen in September? So everybody's just watching the numbers closely. Non-farm payrolls, which is really a series of reports, which is why we don't like to actually trade the actual events, because a lot of people don't realize that it's multiple reports. So you may get an initial reaction off the one report, then they react the other way off the other report. Then they start to pull all the reports together to where it makes sense, and then the market moves another way. So, we know that just historically, when you look at the broker reports, that most accounts are blown on non-farm payroll days. So that's why we just, hey, you wait for the dust to settle, right? You manage your trade, and we're just trying to we're thinking like investors. We're just trying to get an overall look on the strength of the dollar, right? And kind of figure out, hey, what the Fed, what their next move is going to be. That's really what it's all about. It's not about actually trading the news event. It's about just trying to figure out, hey, short term, medium term, long term, like what is the dollar going to look like? Because we know that it's the world's reserve currency. So just, hey, sit back, watch it tomorrow, right? Put your baskets together, right? You can put a dollar basket, US dollar basket together if you want, and just see the market moving. It's a good lesson in real time. So that's all.
My man. Appreciate you, dude. Right, just want to pull up this DXY, right? Take a look at it. Clean this up a little bit. Okay, right down in the monthly support level. Right, this is that retracement that we've been seeing. This is a 4-hour time frame, right? AB boundary, right? Price is pushing to the downside, right? The extension is in sight, right in line with that A boundary. Okay, right in the monthly level. So that's where the dollar is currently.
Right, and we know that the market, like they like certainty, right? They like to know where to put their money, right? So it may not even, if the dollar gets strong, it may not even go to a a risk off environment. They just want to know, where are we going, right? I don't know if you guys remember, if some of you were trading back when Trump got elected, right? And the market dropped, right? And it's really nothing political about it. It's just that the uncertainty, right? He hadn't really come from political background, right? Nobody really knew what his policy stances were going to be. Whereas we knew that Clinton had she's got a ton of history, right? In politics, people kind of knew what her policies would be going in the door from day one, but there was a little uncertainty. So for a couple of days, you saw the market just drop, and it was mainly due to uncertainty. But then it recovered, right? So it's just, investors just like to know, like they like to have some type of certainty, just like all of us, right? We like to know if we park our money somewhere, we got kind of like to know how it's going, how it may play out. There's no guarantee, so it's just about gaining that that confidence, right, in the markets to continue to play the game. So that's what it's really all about.
Ebony said these live sessions always feel like Sunday church service. I'm so happy to be a part of this space. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. We
Ryan?
appreciate you guys too. What's happening?
I just have one more question and like that's it.
Yep.
Are we I've been looking up like the risk on, risk off. Are we risk off because the dollar when the dollar gains strength, or is it vice versa? Like the dollar gains strength, meaning now it's risk off, or is it risk off and then let's put our money in the dollar? Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. So kind of what Benny touched on. Go ahead, Benny.
Oh yeah, the dollar can play both ways, right? That's why when we went over, was it earlier this week when we talked about risk on, risk off?
Yeah,
it was this week.
Looking it up this week, yeah.
Yeah, the dollar can play both sides of the coin because it's the world's reserve currency, right? So
Yeah.
it can act as a safe haven, and then it can act as a safe haven. It could be, it could be a bull. The interest rate goes up. You tend to, when you get the higher interest rates, you tend to see a lot of people start to put money into the U.S. bond market, right? Because what's the safer play, right? The most guaranteed thing that you can have in this game is to put it in bonds, right? So if your interest rates go up and you get a higher yield, then you'll see investors start to move their money into the U.S. bond market, and then when it's vice versa, they'll move it out. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's risk off because you see dollar strength,
okay,
right? Because it played. That's why when we were going over it earlier, that's why they say take a look at the NZD/JPY instead of the USD/JPY, right? Because it's a cleaner look.
Okay.
Where you have the yen that is a safe haven currency, right? That risk off type currency, but then you had a New Zealand that is a commodity currency, and typically during risk on, commodity currencies do well. So that's a better look as opposed to the USD/JPY, where there's so many other variables that can happen with the US dollar. So
Like
dollar strength doesn't necessarily mean risk off. You may start to see, like your S&P and things like that slide off a little bit, right? Because it's almost like an inverse correlation at times, especially initially. But it doesn't. But once the dust settles, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're risk off just because you have dollar strength. What they're doing is they're starting to price in and say, hey, I might want to move some money into the bond market if we're getting higher interest rates, which that's not even necessarily going. You may get an emotional reaction to it if it gets strong tomorrow, but that's not even going to be the play, because the main thing is that the interest rates, they're still being dovish on the interest rate. So regardless of how that report comes out tomorrow, you're still thinking, hey, 2023, 2 interest rate hikes, so it's still off in the distance. So you may see a dip, in the other markets if the dollar gets strong, but then you're probably still buying the dip because the Feds are still supplying the market with the floor. That's all they've been doing. That's why you see the market keep going up and up and up and up and up. They've been providing a floor. Every time you got uncertainty, something happens to COVID, they just keep pumping more money in the market. So they're propping up the stock market. So you may see a temporary dip, but people are still just going to probably come in and buy the dip because they don't really fear the interest rate hike too much. They're just really focused on the time frame in which they're going to start tapering at this point. So it doesn't necessarily mean that. With the US dollar, it just depends.
Okay. Thank you. I'll keep reading.
You're welcome.
Just, the more I read it, the more it'll keep making sense. But thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, Ryan, we saw The Big Short yesterday. Thank you.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah, we watched it.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was like, oh my gosh, we're traders.
But so one of the things like that really brings up, it really highlights is just follow me on this thought. Everything is a figment of someone's imagination. Everything is made up. Even the chair that you're sitting in right now, at one point was a thought in someone's mind that they found a way to make it a real thing. right? Everything started from a thought. Everything was legitimately created out of thin air, right? So if that's true, the computer that you're on, it was a figment of someone's imagination at some point. The internet that you're using, the light that's in your room, the phone that you're on, at some point was just a figment of someone's imagination. And they found a way to make it into a real thing. So if that's true, what thoughts, what desires do we have that currently are just a figment of our imagination that we can work to make reality?
Ryan, why you gotta go there this morning? Boy.
No, it's so true. This is a whole topic that we can talk about like separately, but the movie really, it was like, wait, what?
Exactly.
And then it's like, oh, because someone told me that it was this way. So it's this way. It's not. It's yo, I don't know. And then at the end, he was like, oh, that the guy is focused on water right now. I don't know if you caught that, like right at the end of the movie. And my brother has been talking about how we need to invest in water for years.
So water is, I think it was like last year. They put water on the futures market.
Oh snap! You hear that, Ryan? Yeah.
They put water on the futures market, right? So that's a real thing. That's a real thing. The movie is The Big Short.
I told my brother to watch it this morning. I'm like, yo, you need to watch this movie so we could talk. I know he's gonna say something like, you see, I've known all along. He's like in the desert, just like living out his dream. He's like, I knew it.
Yeah. But literally, man, and even if you, I'll take it a step further and just follow me on this thought, man. Sorry, you guys get me started sometimes and I go on tangents, but if you look at the how the eyeball, the actual structure of the eyeball itself, right? So you have this sphere that has fluid in it, nerve endings and all this stuff, but you have lenses, right? The smaller pieces of the eye. I won't give you the details, but so you have the eye. The human eyeball only perceives a certain wavelength of light, right? That light goes into the pupil, goes to the back of the eye, bounces off of a lens, hits one of the nerves, and then goes to your brain, right? But this lens, the light reflects off of that lens and then registers in your brain, flips the image and gives us what we see. So repeat that. Hits the lens, right? Activates the nerves, flips the image, and gives us what we see. So if that's true, technically, theoretically, we're sitting on the ceiling. Everything's flipped upside down. Again, perspective, imagination. We can look at the same exact picture and see something completely different than the person next to us. It's about perspective, experience, how we see things. Again, everything is created out of thin air. And we as people, our minds have the ability to create things. We just have to be willing to put the time there for the energy into figuring out how to put those pieces together. Right? So those Mindset Mondays back in June, I was talking about write down those goals, right? Conversation from Monday, right? When you guys talked to me about what would you dare to do if failure wasn't an option? What would you dare to do, right? And you allow your mind to run and be that playground. We as people can create some phenomenal things, man. We can create some phenomenal things if we allow our mind and our brain to really do what it's designed to do, and that's be creative and to create. And if we find something that we attach to, that we're passionate about, right? Something bigger than ourselves that really drives us, that pushes us, that makes our palms sweaty, like Ebony said, right? Gives us those butterflies in our stomach. and that really drives you, the world can look completely different. The world can look completely different. We can work to move past those fears, those insecurities, right? By just believing that we were designed to be creative. And if we allow our bodies and our brains to do what they're designed to do, appreciate everybody that's come across our path, right? And given us the fears that they have or the experiences that they have that might have been scary, right? That might have been frustrating, that someone might have told us that we aren't worthy, right? Hey, that's your experience. That's your perspective. But my perspective is, I'm a creative being. I was put on this planet, put on this earth. I was created to be a creative being. So I'm going to press into that and be that. What would the world look like? What would your community look like? What would your house, your household, what would your family look like if you pressed into that? It's scary. It's not easy. It's scary and it's not easy. But if you pressed into it, what if you pressed into that thing that's scary? What if you pressed into that thing that's uncomfortable? What would you look like on the other side? What would you look like on the other side? So, all right, good people. That's our session for today. That's the Inner Circle Live.
Thank you, Ryan.
You
And
guys
the
have a
church say
phenomenal day.
amen.
Yes. Pass a collection plate around now. Thank you so much, Ryan. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I
Ryan.
appreciate you guys.
Bye,
I
Ryan.
appreciate you guys. You guys have a phenomenal day. Check out
See you
Benny tonight
Saturday.
at 9 p.m.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Benny tonight at 9 p.m. Bring us some more knowledge, some more insight. We'll get an update on these setups as we prepare for the day tomorrow. All right. You guys have a phenomenal day. Appreciate you
Thanks.
guys.
You too.
You too,
We'll
Ryan.
chat soon.